none, we'll approve that as amended. We have the approval of the previous meeting minutes for the last month, and that was for July's workshop and regular agenda. Are there any corrections or edits to those minutes? Hearing none, we'll add that to consent agenda for approval. Review of the personnel status report is available, and we have been down. We've been under a hiring freeze, but hopefully soon we will have that alleviated. We've got the be talking about the military briefly tonight, but after we approve that military, then we will have a little more liberty to release a couple of departments to hire. I know Billy Massengale has been down 2 employees, the road, I think sanitation, 1 in the road department, and then 2 or 3, it says, in the jail at this point.
Well, and Billy's also looking for someone to work on Saturdays at the transfer station.
Right, right. So if you're interested in a job at the transfer station, primarily the scale house, that job is available. It's primarily just Saturdays. Yeah. And so that can make it challenging for some people to lose all their Saturdays of the year. But anyway, if you're interested in that, we would welcome your application online or in the office. And then these other positions as well. Are you down 1, Alex? Or are you? You're good. Okay. All right. All right. So that's where we are with that. Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, we'll add that consent agenda to the consent agenda for approval. We have under board appointments tonight the National Emergency Management Month. That is the first proclamation, and basically National Emergency Management. The month of August is officially designated that. It's time to raise public awareness about the importance of emergency preparedness and to recognize the efforts of national emergency management personnel at the local, state, and national levels. So we do recognize that as the county as well this whole month as Emergency Preparedness Month, or National Emergency Management Awareness Month. Sorry, it's a mouthful. Any questions about that? We'll add that to the consent agenda for approval. We also have Purple Heart Day. This is something the county's been doing probably for about 10 years or so. It started with, started in April 26, 2014. Governor Deal signed into law an official designation of August the 7th, which technically is tomorrow each year as Purple Heart Day in Georgia. So we also recognize that to remember our veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart Medal, and we have had Purple Heart members. Alan Bradford was a Purple. He had 3 Purple Hearts, and so.
And the American Legion came out that first night that this was recognized years ago.
Yep.
And we came in here and recognized it.
Yes, and so we hold great admiration and utmost gratitude for all the men and women who are recipients. And selflessly served their community and their country in the armed forces, and were recognized by a Purple Heart. So anyway, if you know someone with a Purple Heart, please recognize them. Any questions on that? We'll add that to the consent agenda for approval. We also have Senior Citizens Day. I don't know. Do you? Oh, all right. Do we have anybody from the? Okay. No. All right. We talked about having some folks here from our senior citizens, but what we're going to do is on hopefully the 21st or towards the end of the month at that morning is go down and present this to the seniors. So y'all are all welcome to attend that. It's again, National Senior Citizens Day honors our elderly population for the value and contribution they bring to home, family, and society, giving us ample reason this year to reserve a special day in honor of the senior citizens who mean so much to our country and our county. Throughout our history, senior citizens have achieved much for our families, our communities, and our country. This remains true today as senior citizens actively serve as volunteers in various programs and projects that benefit every sector of society. Wherever the need exists, older Americans are making their presence felt for their own good and that of others. With improved health care and more years of productivity, senior citizens are reinforcing their historical roles as leaders, acting as links to our heritage and sense of purpose as individuals and as a nation. Many older people are embarking on second careers, giving younger Americans a fine example of responsibility, resourcefulness, competence, and determination. And for all they have achieved throughout life and for all they continue to accomplish, we owe older citizens our thanks and a heartfelt salute. And we can best demonstrate our gratitude and esteem by making sure that our communities are a good place in which to mature and grow older, places in which our older people can participate in the fullest and can find the encouragement, acceptance, assistance, and services they need to continue lead lives of independence and dignity. So again, this is going to be at our Senior Citizens Center on August 21st, right there at 9 o'clock that morning. So if you're interested in being there, we welcome you, and we do highly recommend that you support our senior citizens.
And two of your commissioners think this is very important.
Absolutely.
Right, Bill?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. All right, thank you. So we will add that proclamation. All right. Number 5 is approval of SPLOST capital equipment, and we have under that elections, building construction projects. And so we do have a project list there.
Yes, sir. Yep.
We do issue these online, I believe, and the commissioners all get copies of this. The roofing has finally commenced, or it's being finalized. JDH Roofing, which is a company out of Chattanooga, locally owned, I might add, continued the gutters work this week, and glass installation is commenced on August the 3rd. We have some concrete work that will be finished to the front, and then we'll be able to install the doors. Once the doors are up, the windows, I believe, are already in. Then what will happen is the HVAC will be turned down and then start acclimating the building in order for them to get the flooring ready to place down. But they really can't do the flooring until all those, till the doors are placed and put up, because, you know, they acclimate properly. Sidewall finishes are being done. Painting is, the first coat's complete at this point, and so they'll be focusing on finishing up some painting in the middle of the month, and then grading continues on the subgrade preparation for the parking lot. And I know they've been working on that yesterday and today, so that may have concluded today, but I have a feeling by early next week that will be done. The restrooms are, the flooring was completed earlier, I think at the end of last week, and you see the different pictures there. So it's really looking good. We look forward to having the people come by and take a look at that. Of course, we don't believe they'll be ready by the election in November, so be aware that this year's elections will remain here, as this room will remain as the primary precinct for Trenton and for early voting, and that will be the 3 weeks leading up to the election to be held on November the 3rd. So that will not change, but hopefully sometime in the very early part of, maybe late November, early December, or even into early January, we should be able to move operations to the new elections facility for, that's where the new Trenton precinct will be, and that's where early voting will be held. So any questions on that? I wanted to make you aware in regards to elections, I should have had Jason come and explain this, but we already own 3 what's called poll pad printers. There was I don't know if it's a court decision or a Secretary of State's made a decision, but there was a decision that came down in the last 10 days that changed the law, and notorious for that, usually after a legislative session, but I don't think it got changed at the special session in June, but I just, anyway, I was just made aware of it. And what it is, there's a move to go back to paper ballots in Georgia. There's a lot of controversy over that. There's a very small, limited group of people in Georgia that wants to see that, but they've made a difference as far as trying to get the law changed. And so to accommodate that, I don't know, again, I don't know if it was a judge or a court has ruled, but there has been a decision within the last 30 days that paper of some sort has to accompany the electronic ballot. The only way to do that is either have everyone fill out, remember the paper ballots that you used to fill out, they had some of the pre-populated areas filled out, and then what they would do is you sign it, verify the information. And what's been happening is the poll pads now, you bring your license in, they put it in, they turn it over, and you verify the information and sign it. Well, in order to continue to do that, they have to be able to print that off to place with the ballot. And so the only way to do that is to purchase 14 printers, and that goes along with those. And those are only sold by one vendor in the state of Georgia, and it's called No Ink, Knowink, that's vetted through the Secretary of State. And so they have, we feel like that's the least obtrusive way to continue at least the upcoming election, and it meets the criteria according to the Secretary of State's office. So therefore, they are going to have a need of buying 14 printers at $425 a piece, and that's a total of $5,950. And so just giving you a heads up on that's happening. So if you got any questions, I would ask you to reach out to Jason or the Board of Elections, because they just made me aware of it this week, and I think it was on Tuesday. So anyway, all right, moving on. So on the consent agenda, we can add the elections building update to the consent agenda, just so we know. Number 6 is resolution R-39-26. This is a reappointment of the county safety coordinator. We do this periodically, and the safety coordinator is, just so everyone knows, is responsible for establishing and coordinating safety meetings and self-inspections to identify safety-related hazards, coordinating and implementing safety rules and training for supervisors and employees, and or making recommendations to management regarding such items, reviewing and or investigating all employees' accidents or causes and making recommendations for improvements and corrections, conducting periodic safety inspections of all vehicles, buildings, grounds, equipment and machinery, and work practices and conditions to determine potential injury exposures, and documenting and maintaining inspection records and implementing any follow-up actions. Mrs. Patty Murphy has been doing this for the county, serving as safety coordinator, and so it was just time to either replace her or reappoint her. We are going to definitely reappoint her because she's trained to do it. And I don't think Gidget wants to do it. Do you want to do it, Gidget? Okay. And so that's what I thought. And so Patty graciously accepted that since she's well trained. And yes, comes with a pay raise of 0. So we appreciate Patty's volunteerism in this matter. So anyway, any questions on that? Hearing none, we'll add that to the consent agenda for approval. Number 7 is approval of, this is a second reading of amendment to ordinance number 04-06-17. This ordinance number would be, I suppose, 08-06-26. It's not on there, but that's what it is. And so what this does from my understanding is if someone, let's say, I'm just going to use one example, Canyon Grill appears to be 100 years old, they do not have to be carded. If the clerk or the person, the pouring person, the server coming to the table knowingly realizes this person is over the age of 21, that this ordinance allows that person to make that decision on their own to determine that their age is over 21. If they feel like it's close call, you're 49 years old, but you look 19, you may get carded still. So, you know, some of our ladies are young and beautiful ladies, and so who knows, maybe they'll get asked for their license, I don't know, or whatever, their card ID, photo ID, I should say. But that's what this does, that's all that does. It comes from the Alcohol Beverage Control Board as a recommendation to our board to amend the ordinance. Is that sufficient? Is that what it does?
That's it.
Counselor, all right. And so, do we have any discussion on that? Because this would become the final reading and a law after tonight.
I'm in favor of it.
Yes.
Okay. Philip, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. All right, so we will add that to consent agenda for approval. I think that's been a little contentious when you get carded every weekend at the same place by the same person. But anyway, hopefully that will alleviate some of that. Okay, number 8 is a schedule of our 2026 millage rate. We've already discussed this, but we officially want to do it tonight. We do have a public hearing set for Thursday, August 13th at 11 a.m., to 6 p.m., also that same day on the 13th. And then at 4 p.m. on August 20th, third public hearing, and at 4:30, the announcement of a special called meeting to consider adoption of the final millage rate. Tuesday, August 25th, we'll also announce that day as the evening at 4:30 for a special called meeting to authorize the collection of tax revenue for the school board's millage rate, as they will set that. We don't set their millage rate, they set their millage rate, but we do authorize the collection of their millage rate. And they typically will bring that to us that evening following if they've had public hearings or whatever, they have to follow their own guidelines set forth by the state. The current notice of property tax increase is the standard one that we have been putting out for every year for many years, I mean really since 1999. The Georgia taxpayer, Georgia legislature passed the Georgia Taxpayers Bill of Rights or whatever it was called in 1999 or so. And from that, anytime you collect more revenue than you did the prior year, then you are exceeding what's called the rollback rate. Our rollback rate in the unincorporated area, if it were to drop to that, would be 7.277 mills to collect the exact same amount we did this year. In the city, which is we call the incorporated area, it would drop to 9.592. We discussed this a week or so ago, I can't remember, at another meeting, and the consensus was not to increase the millage rate this year. For the budget purposes, if we were a quarter mil more, we would collect sufficient revenues to balance the budget at the tune of 210 or 310,000? Yeah, $310,000. We do have the use of $200,000 currently in the budget for fund balance. It's not uncommon for a county to use their fund balance, but when it's for reoccurring activities or expenses, I should say, that is a slippery slope at times, because if you have a problem this year, you're most likely going to have a problem next year. But we are maintaining that rate at 7.5. It's been at 7.5 now for 12 months, and we are recommending that it remain at 7.5. And therefore, we have to advertise this since we will collect additional revenues from the tax. Then what is that additional revenue? Well, that's, people that built homes this past year, they're now paying taxes where they weren't here last year. Or it could be enhancements made to someone's home that the tax Board of Assessors have come out and recognized those enhancements, and now they're taxable. So there's different things that cause that. Typically, if you have a freeze on your property, you will not experience any of this. If you've frozen your values, am I saying that right, Paula Duvall? Yes, she's here tonight. If you have frozen your value, then you most likely, I would say for sure, will not see this increase at all, unless you had an enhancement to your home, right? I mean, but even then, I think it has to be very specialized in that case, like a new driveway or a pool or something. So that's exterior. But anyway.
Make sure it's the county portion of taxes too.
I'm sorry, what?
They see an increase in the county portion of taxes, the county side, not the school board.
Yeah.
Because they'll see both of those on the bill.
So the tax bill that goes out is going to have, as always, a section. Used to have 4 sections, or 3 sections. One was state. The state no longer collects any on those property tax bills. It does have a section for the county, and it has a section for the school board. School board collects about 2/3, it's almost 3/4 at this point, taxes in Dade County for the maintenance and operation of their school system. Some people that have 5 acres or more, or less, or a dwelling may have 0 tax if they're exempt and over 65. And so those folks, if that's your situation and have that exemption in place, then you would only see the county's portion. And then if you're frozen, there's chances are there'll be no tax, there'll be no additional revenues on you. And there is a homeowner's tax relief grant in use this year that the legislature approved, so most people will see a reduction through that. It's called HTRG. And so that has been $2,000 for a homestead exemption. That is now $18,000. And so some people in this county will have a 0 tax bill, all right? So it can be extremely confusing. We'll do the best to, if you come in and want to talk to us, we'll talk to you individually. If you want to talk to the assessor's office, you want to talk to our office, we'll be happy to talk to you about it. And we can actually run what's called a pre-bill to see what your taxes will be. But anyway, that's a lot to say this. We have to, by law, advertise the notice of property tax increase, and therefore we have just done that. So, all right. Any questions on those upcoming public hearings and meetings? All right. It's a discussion topic. We have Bob Woods, Commissioner of South Dade, wants to discuss cell towers and data centers.
Okay, thank you. When I'm addressing first cell phone towers, let's talk about that. I'm talking to both companies who are interested in putting one on property and the citizens that might own that property. Let's just address a couple of things. First of all, to the companies out there, you got to come and talk to our special purpose use board, right? And do the application, explain what the purpose of the cell phone tower is, right? How long it's going to be there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to get that permission. But that stuff doesn't necessarily fill up my phone with phone calls. Let's talk about a couple of other things. If you're a citizen and you think you're going to become independently wealthy by putting a cell phone tower on your property, it ain't going to happen. You're going to get some income in, but it's not going to be a lot. Now, along those same lines, if you're a neighbor and you're a good neighbor, before you stick that cell phone tower on your property, you might want to go talk to your neighbors and tell them you're going to do that. So the neighbor who is not necessarily right with you, but he's down here and you decide to put your cell phone tower right there, doesn't have a flashing light coming in his living room 24/7. So it's just a good thing to talk to your neighbors and try to get this done. The next thing, to the citizens, if a company wants to do this and you agree and you've been a great citizen and you've talked to your neighbor and there's not a problem about where it's going, you need to have in the contract before you sign that when the cell phone tower becomes extinct or is no longer being used, they're going to remove it and return your property to the way it was. Don't just blindly sign something, right? Just make sure that's in there, because that's going to make it, that's going to make a difference. Okay. So cell phone towers, they're of interest, right? Not to every citizen, but to several citizens, right? Keep what I said in mind, right? Talk to the companies, talk to your neighbors, and make sure that they're going to return it when they no longer need it. All right, data centers. Are data centers a concern? Yes. Okay. I think tonight, Bill and Melissa are going to mention them a little bit. They've gone to some training and some conferences where we've got our head engaged on this. Okay. You know, we know that there's a lot of concerns. Who's going to pay the electric bill? Where are they going to be located? There's a lot of stuff to be involved with this, but I just wanted you to know that the commission's got our head in this game. We're going down this road, and we'll be bringing forth some more information on data centers in the future. That's it. County Exec.
All right. Any comments or questions? Okay. All right.
Good talk, though. It's
Yep.
definitely
Thank you.
needs to be
It's-
put out there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hot topics from the National Commissioners Conference. So that's Melissa Bradford.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to be able to go to the National Association of Counties. This was the largest conference I had ever been to in my life. It was every time of the day they had something that you could pop in and listen to and get great information. I was there 3 or 4 days and got from the time you get up in the morning till really about 9 o'clock at night, there was something that you could go to. So I was very, very well informed about some hot topics. So I just wanted to go over with the board, not really in just an announcement, because I feel like these are things that they talked about in every room that I went about the responsibility of AI, I'm sorry. So I've got some slides up, and I'm not going to read them all, but I thought they would be up for people to refer back to and look at, kind of what is going on. And the first one is, it offers improvements to the county and great uses, but it can be a danger. The next one is it should be supported by county employees, not replaced by human judgment. A lot of things that they talked about was if you don't have your own system built into your county and you're reaching out to ChatGPT, Google, all these things that we're used to, that information's out there. So if citizens' information it's getting out there. So, having awareness of when and how you should use it as a policy.
So you're saying, for example, Melissa, if I'm contemplating, right, something about a specific citizen, right, with different parameters and facts and figures, we should never go to AI to address it, correct?
Yeah, you should not go to that person's property or.
I mean, because that information is going to get out there.
It's out.
Right.
Once you do it, it's out.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making here, so we just got to be careful.
Whether it's, used for a good reason or a bad reason.
I'm with you.
It's out
Okay.
there.
All right.
And they, a lot of these went into a whole lot more detail about what, you should and shouldn't do. And then the responsible approach would be testing and human overview. I know that there's some large county, of course, this was, national, so this is all the states. So there's counties that are using it for accounting, they're using it for, you know, in place of people. We don't necessarily have that, but I still feel like it's kind of, there should be some type of a policy of what the office, you know, is going to allow to use and what's comfortable and how you're gonna use it, and just let it be, you know, aware of everybody that is using those type of things. Of course, there's counties out there that have their own system built within their county, and they're able to use that. Those are called other things, which I'm not. And that next one's kind of the responsible approach to provide clear guidance to employees in training and security approaches. And then the transportation, I've been thinking about the transfer station all day. Transparency of what technology that you are using and what the citizens are gonna expect, and how you are using it. And it just kind of goes through about, you know, the cost and the vendors that are supporting it and how to support it. I mean, every single class that I went in, every single room was about AI and technology. There was very little that was about, you know, land management, or it was all about how things are being used on the computer. And that pretty much is the whole deal. It was outstanding. I have a whole book at home that, you know, I could refer back to. There was just so much great information, and I think it's just good for our board to kind of keep that in mind with the fact that data centers are coming around, and just the different things that we're able to use and in the office, you know, to say, you know, what kind of things that you can use and can't use, which we're all used to Google. We've been Googling for, you know, years now. But, you know, ChatGPT and some others are coming up there, so I just wanted to put that out there and, you know, let us all think about that.
All right, all right. Well, we'll have a public comment here shortly. All right, next, thank you, Melissa, for your input on that, and so, that's great.
Yeah, and also
AI
that was a grant
AI is here, so it's happening.
that allowed one of us to go, and what it sounds like they'll be offering it again.
Right.
So whether it's me or somebody else on the board, it's definitely
We're a member of NACO, which is the National Association of County Commissioners, and they're in partnership with the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, which we refer to as ACCG. ACCG was able to get a grant for every county to have at least one representative attend for free, and so that was awesome. We appreciate that, because hotels and travel and all that's quite expensive in the registration, so they paid for it, and so that was excellent that you got to go to that.
It was.
We appreciate you
very,
going
very
to it.
good.
All right. Any questions on AI? It's massive. And it's going to affect every aspect of our life, so be prepared. If you don't think it already is, it is affecting your life.
Yes.
Somehow. You may not even be participating in it, but I promise somehow it's affecting you.
Yeah, they made that very clear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Our next thing on the agenda is the addition that we added earlier, and I just want to say that about 18 months ago or so, I reached out and had Alex Case, mayor of Trenton. I mean, Alex is back here. He's doing our AI stuff tonight, right? And our video stuff. But he also serves as mayor, and we also our EMS director, Kyle Gross, and you went with us, didn't you? I can't remember. I forgot. Bill Pullen went to last January. We reached out to a local hospital.
Kyle went.
Yep. Okay, Kyle went. And we reached out actually to a gentleman that Chris can talk about here in a minute. He's our outreach person. And to see if there was any interest in a medical facility. I know when I ran for office, one of the biggest things that I kept hearing in the community was, we really need a place to go locally. And even though we all have a doctor, many of our doctors are in Chattanooga. It's just, we live from the border of Tennessee in Hamilton County, Tennessee, so makes sense. I lived at North Dade, grew up at North Dade, and we went more north than we went south many times. Because that's where we went to work, and et cetera. So, but every community needs a good health care system. And that's one thing that if you haven't faced, you're very fortunate and blessed not to have had to face some kind of health crisis. But many of us have, or someone in our family has. And so, you know, emergency services, ambulances, contracts and all that are important, but where you go is critical too. Having a place to get patched up, doctors that you can go to. And so we were happy to announce this past Thursday a partnership with Park Ridge Medical Center. And as I've been stating publicly to everyone I come in contact with, they are the pilot of this plane. They're steering this ship, and we are a passenger. All right, and so I'm very fortunate, and I'm making that very public, that they have chosen to come down here. And I want to introduce Mr. Chris Cosby. He's the CEO and president of Park Ridge Medical Center to make the announcements.
Yeah, thank you. So he's correct. We started about 18 months ago in conversations. We slapped NDAs on them. That's why it's been so quiet. That's why no one knew. We're excited, guys. We filed our letter of intent last Thursday, and that's when we made it. So we filed last Wednesday and made it public Thursday and Friday. You're looking at, hopefully by the end of December, we'll get hopefully approval from the state to open an ER here. So let me talk a little bit about what it is. Who Park Ridge is. So Park Ridge Health System, so President and CEO of Park Ridge Health System, we're actually the market share leader in ER care for this region. We see more ER patients than Erlanger. And we have several of these freestanding ERs. We have Park Ridge North on Lee Highway, then Park Ridge Camp Jordan in the Camp Jordan area, and then Park Ridge Soddy Daisy, who had nothing in their community as well. We built an ER there. We also are in the process of getting ready to start building one in Cleveland, Tennessee, and then Dade is the next one. And so it is definitely part of our model. It will be an 11-bed ER, if not a 12-bed ER. It will have a full imaging. It will have CT, X-ray, ultrasound, be board certified ER physicians in there with ER trained nurses and techs. We are super excited about this. This is something we do everywhere, where this isn't just a concept we came out of nowhere after talking to the county. We're bringing what we're doing in other places. It'll be about total, all in, probably about $19 million investment into Dade County. I love of course, I watched the social media comments last week, and I definitely want to go ahead and make this comment out public so it gets out there. We have asked the county for nothing. We don't want that y'all will pay us no tax dollars. Actually, we're going to pay taxes. And so we've asked we want no tax breaks. We'll gladly pay our property taxes. And so we're going to do this on our own dime. And we're excited to bring that to the county, to the region. This ER will save people's lives. There will be family members who get to have Christmas with their families because this ER saved their life. When you look at you're in an emergency situation, minutes matter. And we want to be there for you. You want to be in your backyard. I think you could bring any EMS person up here right now, and they would repeat everything I just said about minutes matter and getting people to an ER. But that's where we're at. We're hoping that by the end of December, we're all high-fiving. So what's the timeline after that? How fast can you build this thing? Because we do this in multiple places, from the moment that it is approved, you're probably 3 to 4 months before we can break ground. That's getting the architects, the contractors, permits, all the lovely stuff that we have to get done. And then 10 months. The moment we break ground, 10 months later, we're open. So it's the same. The only thing that really changes in these models when you look at our freestanding ERs is they get turned a certain way because of the way the land lays out. And we need the EMS bay to be in a certain spot. Or we've learned lessons from our other freestanding ERs, and we take those and make those changes when we build the next ones. So we are super excited to be here in Dade County. When we started talking and we started pulling the data, it made a lot of sense. And we're excited that y'all chose to partner with us and that we chose to partner with y'all, and looking forward to doing it. And I'll tell you, I do live in Chattanooga, but I am from South Alabama. I'm from Dothan, Alabama. My mom grew up in a place called Wicksburg, Alabama, which is very similar to Dade County. So I might not be from here, but I definitely grew up on something very similar to Dade County and understand what this community is and how you function.
It's great news, and we're beyond excited about it. And so everyone also knows that we did not give you the property or
No, we paid.
negotiate. They went after their property here in Trenton, and so they finalized that, and we're happy about that. And so it's, again, a $19 million investment for Dade County. For Dade Countyans. I mean, it is I think one of the most significant health care announcement in Dade County's history at this point. So we're excited about that. At this point, it is emergency room, right? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, let me add about the
other
land
services.
deal, so they'll help there as well as, no one was involved in helping the land deal get done. If you don't know where it's going to be yet, it is behind CVS. It's where the fruit stand is and where the flea market on certain days is. Did I have that right?
That's
Right. Okay, all right. So that's the property. I came on a random day like today one day, and me and Will Pitt, which is the guy you mentioned earlier who does my outreach stuff and also my EMS relations, and we drove the county and narrowed it down to 3 spots pretty fast. And then narrowed it down to that spot almost immediately. And so you have to be in a more crowded area to make it easier for people to access. Because this isn't going to just serve Dade County. I think people have to understand that people in North Alabama are going to drive to this thing. People in other counties are going to drive to this thing. And so it's the right location, not to just serve Dade, but the citizens of the surrounding area who need access to ER care. So yes, it would. The building would just be an ER, and I had a meeting earlier today. Also, we will start looking at building a multi-specialty clinic here. And so what does that mean? That means having orthopedics rotate through here, cardiac, spine rotate through here. I had dinner last night with Dr. Chris Panko, who is a very prominent hand surgeon in Chattanooga, and if I was going to have hand surgery, he would do my hand surgery. And he's like, yeah, I'd rotate through there, or I send my mid-level down there. So it won't be like, hey, there'll be that doctor here every day. Love y'all, but you can't support that every single day, and those doctors have to support themselves. But they will rotate here, like the hand doc might come twice a month, every other Tuesday or something like that. But it isn't the start of just an ER. As soon as we get our foot and get underneath this and start doing what we're going to do for this community, then we'll start looking at bringing our specialists in and have a multi-specialty clinic.
And so, what's your opinion about EMS? I mean, response times for us. I mean,
Yeah, one of the best gifts I think we can give you is getting your trucks back on the road as fast as possible, right? Think about them having to drive to another ER into Chattanooga when they're going to be able to drive 5-10 minutes, depending on where you are in the county, right? And we are going to get that patient unloaded into a room, get them treated, and then get the truck back on the road. I think, Puckett is who you work with. Puckett is who we work with. So Puckett has our transfer contracts. They do a lot of stuff for us. And so it's a natural relationship that's already here in the county that will also help with our ER as well. If we do have to move you downtown, to the main campus, or if you're pregnant, and you need to go to our east campus because you're going to deliver a baby or something like that. You know, the fact that we already have that relationship is a big deal for this county.
Well, I just want to say, I am super excited you're coming.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I think this is a milestone in healthcare for Dade County. And having met with you and about 5 or 6 of your staff, the due diligence y'all have put into this on what we need, what we can support, coming in here without handouts or tax abatements. I am super excited to have y'all. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're excited. I promise y'all, we do a very, very thorough analysis on data. Not AI on that data. Some stuff we do use AI for, but when you're going to drop $19 million in the county, you got to make sure it makes sense before you do
You
it.
got to do your homework, you're absolutely right.
There's, you know, I love my job. I love what I do. I have a lot of fun with it. But I can tell you, managing those type dollars, honestly, there's no difference in managing that and managing your personal. The commas are just in different spots, but you still have to do the due diligence on when if it's your personal money or the money you're investing on behalf of a corporation.
So you're building, this will be number 5?
I think that 5 freestanding ER.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's right. Yeah, and this will make right. We got the main ER, the East ER, the West ER.
Okay.
You got North, Camp Jordan, Saudi Daisy, Cleveland, and then Dade will make the 8th ER.
Okay.
So, and then there's another one lined up behind that.
Yeah, so some of these communities that you've been going into already, of course, had an ER, or they have a medical facility or a hospital or whatever.
Right.
Because we don't, what do you think the chances of us, I mean, would Atlanta say, no, they don't need one? I mean.
No, I think it tells a story, right?
Right.
You know, Cleveland, which is Tennessee, has a different laws than Georgia when it comes to getting a certificate of need. So CON is their certificate of need. Tennessee has a different law. You go to a legit hearing and you present, and you know it's an all-day thing. But Cleveland, right? There was another hospital there, and they fought us on getting the ER. We did win because 35% of that county, Bradley County, was voting with their feet and coming to Hamilton County for health care. So it's one of the reasons we won. But here, you have nothing, right? You've got your primary care clinic, and we met with them earlier today about how we can be a partner with them and help them as we come in. And then you have a nurse practitioner down the street. And that's it. And, you know, your primary care clinic talked today about how many patients show up and they're really in an emergency room patient. And, you know, they can't convince them to go to an ER because they don't want to go into Chattanooga. Well, if I got to go 3 blocks down the road and there's a board-certified ER physician sitting there waiting to take care of you, you know, I think the other thing, let me probably touch on some of this stuff as well, is that when you know, not every patient who comes into an ER needs to be admitted or have surgery or whatever it is. Now, when you go to our hospital-based ER, so like our main campus down on McCauley, you know, it has a higher admit rate, right? It ranges from 12 to 20%, depending on the day and the acuity of the patient. So the acuity of a patient is how sick they are. Statistically, freestanding ERs see a little bit lower acuity patients. And so it's usually single digits, low single digits, on like maybe 3 to 5% on patients who actually need to move on to a hospital. So usually over 90% of hospitals patients that walk into freestanding ERs go home. We call them treat them and street them. So we're treating you and treating you back to your house. Now I have a belief that this actually will be a slightly higher acuity freestanding ER, and the reason I believe that is because you have nothing, and we're going to be closer. But if you brought Puckett up here right now to talk behind me, they would tell you they will be ready to help us get those patients to where they need to be.
Good.
And I'll just say that y'all gave us a tour over East Ridge, and the facility was nice. The equipment was first class, up to date, laboratory, radiology, and the staff was astounding also.
Yep. I know a lot more about healthcare than the average person on the street. I see data that no one else gets to see. And I can tell you that I would gladly I'm married, I got 2 kids, I got 2 teenagers, and I would gladly let them go to a freestanding ER. No doubt about it.
Good deal.
Because it's the same staff, it's the same doctors that work at the hospital-based ERs. They're rotating through all of our ERs, and they're all the same. You've got residents of Dade County that work at Park Ridge Health System. And 2 of them, well, really 3 of them, stopped me this week and asked me when it was going to open because they were like, I won't have to drive into Chattanooga to work. I get to work in my backyard. 2 of these are ER nurses.
Good deal.
I'll answer anything you got.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll hang out for a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, that is something good to work. We definitely look forward to working with Park Ridge HCA from now on. And I look forward to a great partnership in the future as we move that forward. So, all right, we'll take a brief recess and then begin our regular meeting. We'll call the meeting to order at this time. The Dade County Board of Commissioners' regular meeting is hereby called to order. This time I'll ask the clerk, no, not the clerk, I'm not asking the clerk. Is our pastor here tonight yet?
Yes, he is.
Well, I know we got Jerry here, but we had another pastor here. Is Reese here? Not here. Well, we're going to ask the Bishop of Dade County, Brother Jerry Atkins, to come up. We thought Mr. Reese Griffin, Brother Reese Griffin was going to be here. Not Griffin, Fawcett was going to be
Reese
here.
Fawcett.
But you look close enough to Reese, so we'll all stand at this time. And he was going to lead us in the invocation, and then I'll ask Bob Woods to lead us the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we're grateful for another beautiful day you've given us to live and to serve you. We pray now for this time together that many things will be accomplished for the county and for all of its citizens. I thank you again for your blessings on our life. And Lord, protect all that are here tonight as they drive home. In Christ's name, amen.
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 Thank you.
Face the flag, hand over heart, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Jerry, you can tell Brother Reese, he was the Bishop of Lookout Mountain, but we hereby revoked his bishopness, so sorry about that. Thank you, though, for coming tonight and leading in our invocation. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Dade County Board of Commissioners, which takes place at the same time on the first Thursday of every month. Proper notice of this meeting was given in the legal organ of the Dade County and has been posted in the hallway of the administrative building. At this time, I'll call the roll and have it recorded by the clerk. Dr. Pullen?
Present.
Mr. Hartline?
Present.
Oh, there he is, all right. Mr. Woods?
Present.
Mrs. Bradford?
Here.
And the chair is present. We have a quorum and therefore a legal meeting. At this time, we do have citizens' participation, and the first person is Ms. Kim Buffington. So what we have is, we have several people on tonight to speak, and each person will be given up to 5 minutes. On the fourth minute, the beginning of the last minute, our county clerk will announce you have 1 minute remaining.
I actually had not planned on speaking on AI. My question and my only concern concerning AI is that we keep track of its programming. Is
Yes.
it programmed to seek truth?
Right.
And I heard you name a ton of AIs, but you didn't name Grok.
Yeah.
And that's the one that it's programmed to seek truth. But anyway, that's not why I came tonight, but that's my 2 cents worth. My name is Kimberly Troxell Buffington. I am a lifelong resident of Dade County. In fact, my ancestors have been in this county since 1838, its founding. My ancestors have paid property taxes always, and I pay. We all pay. We pay and we pay and we pay, and it never stops. Okay, and then we're scared of losing. My home is paid for. You know, I'm blessed that my home is paid for. I'm scared of losing my home to my landlord if I can't pay my property taxes. And let's be honest, I mean, you guys are in government, but does the government make a good landlord? Does he change your water heater out? Does he fix your broken window? You know, you rent a house to relieve that responsibility of maintaining a home. But our landlord, the government, is not doing any of that. We're still burdened with the same responsibilities, and we still have to pay, and it never stops. So I guess my real reason for coming is to notify everybody that has complained on Facebook and complained on X and complained and complained and complained. I'm going to start a grassroots organization to end property taxes, because they're not fair. We don't have a good landlord. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. I want to thank each of you for all your commitment to this county.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm excited about the ER. You know, I'm supposed to think, you know, I remember that being the car wash. Who remembers that being a car wash? You know, I mean, we need that, but it just messes with my memories. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Susie Talbot.
Here's a copy of the two policies that I'll be referring to this evening, but you need to refer to them. In a recent review of the county credit card statements, a review of the county credit card policy was also conducted. The policy states that each cardholder is given instruction when they receive the card, and this instruction was not included in the open records request, if one even exists. What the instruction may or may not contain remains undetermined. The policy includes fuel credit cards, whom they're issued to, and their intended usages. The entire policy for the credit cards includes 5 bullet points. It does not outline what types of charges can be made and in what situations. There are no limitations for food charges, incidental expenses, office supplies, equipment purchases, travel reimbursements, or travel per diem. Essentially, our employees have no guidance on allowable charges and no guidance on appropriate purchases. In January of 2025, the total credit card monthly spending limit was increased from $31,000 to $60,000. There are a total of 35 known county credit card holders currently, and that's what we were able to identify. Upon review of the statements, there were 2 types of spending cultures noted. Some departments are very conservative and show discretion with their line item purchases, while other departments show less discretion. These 2 cultures of spending allow for inconsistencies. Without leadership policy and guidance, this is predictable. As an example, we see some employee travel food charges for a meal at maybe $20, while other employees might charge $100 for a meal or more. Food purchases made locally were also a consistent theme upon the review. Training, lodging, and travel is a high spending category on our credit card statements. It is undetermined at this time if some of this training is elective. Elected officials have a different policy for credit card usage. Each elected cardholder is required to sign an agreement. Of note, unless otherwise approved by the governing authority or established in the credit card policy, the transaction limits for our elected officials are $3,000 per transaction and $5,000 per month as a spending limit. In a recent open records request, the records clerk included all signed copies of these agreements, including elected officials who are no longer serving. There were no signed agreements from any of the 5 of you on the board. It appears as if we have an inadequate credit card policy that gives employees very little guidance in appropriate credit card usage. Additionally, we are not following our own policy for elected officials who hold cards. There are several purchases specifically that require additional clarification, which can be addressed at another time. In general, it is the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners to adopt ordinances and resolutions and to establish county policy. It is then the county executive's role to implement and administer the policies adopted by the board. I would like to encourage our board to review the credit policies and to update. A per diem policy that aligns with state standards would eliminate a possible issue of overspending on credit cards while traveling, and all food expenditures would be reimbursed for travel days at a flat rate across the board. Additionally, a clearer guideline for employees would provide clarity. This approach allows for a greater balance in government and a consistency with credit card purchases among all departments. I want to be clear that my observations are not that every expenditure reviewed was improper. My concern is how this commission is evaluating spending priorities as a collective unit, and especially at this time when the budget remains unresolved with millage rate hearings scheduled next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Bridger. Okay. All right.
Hi, we are 30-year residents of Dade County, having moved here from Maryland, originally from Chattanooga in North Carolina. My name is Chris Bridger, and this is my husband, John.
I'm the driver.
But ever since we've lived here, we have enjoyed the beautiful scenery, all the gifts that the Lord has given us in this environment. And we both feel very strongly about being faithful stewards of this. So for this reason, I am here to back up Jennifer Blair to hope that this council, this associated, this committee, and our county will back up the glass recycling. I have 3 years of glass waiting, because since they closed it here, I refuse to put it in trash. And I have gotten to know.
Yeah, they run us out of the Hamilton County transfer station. We tried to do it, and now we're criminals, I guess.
Lookout Valley. Anyway, I have gotten to know Overlook Materials. I've been in connection with them, asking questions, and I think we're very blessed to have them right next door, willing to work out an agreement here. I understand they are working with Dalton on this now in Georgia, or going to. So my concern is, I would rather be able to recycle this glass into new products than to throw it into a waste system that is already overridden, and reduce the carbon emissions, reduce the cost of waste, having to take it that far away and dump it in a hole, when right next door we can support a company that is making new products that are usable, and also it'd be less energy cost and less waste. I feel that's our responsibility as citizens to make the best of what we're given, so that's why I'm here, okay?
Thank you.
So I hope you can move forward on this.
Well, in my report
Yes.
today was, we just got done discussing some type of a contract with them, and hopefully with Morgan's, with Overlooked timeframe, he'll be able to come in next month and do a demonstration and
great.
and show us how it's going to be set up and everything. So hopefully by next week we should get the end result that he will be here next month.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And is it Robin Bushangle? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. As I said, my name is Robin Boschnagel. I'm a property owner and resident of Dade County. I moved here from Texas about 15 years ago. My family is a multi-generational property owner here on Lookout Mountain. And I appreciate the opportunity to address the commission regarding some matters that have come up recently in regard to private property ownership. Recently, I was made aware of an anonymous complaint to the Environmental Protection Department in Georgia, claiming there were illegal dumping going on my property on Durham Road. I clearly stated to the EPD that they're welcome to come inspect and investigate any actions on the property. And in fact, the director of the department notified me that he has reviewed the complaint and closed the complaint. There's no illegal dumping going on the property. To the best of my knowledge, there never has been illegal dumping. There was a coal mine there back whenever, but no illegal dumping of any materials. As that would, the land is being cleared for agricultural use, any dumping would be inconsistent with my interest and the interest of really the property itself. So my purpose this evening, however, extends kind of beyond that complaint. I believe it's important for this commission and the public to understand the circumstances that led to that complaint. For a little over 2 years, an individual affiliated with a neighboring nonprofit, Land Conservancy, has repeatedly sought to purchase that property. At the time, it belonged to my father-in-law. He made several purchase offers to him, which were declined. After that, he came to my property and alleged that there were illegal actions on the property and that he would make the authorities known and that he would take whatever actions necessary in order for that property not to be able to be used. I believe that that complaint came directly from that individual. I don't have any proof of that. But I decided to purchase that property for my father-in-law because the concerns over the allegations and the legal concerns that he had caused him great health issues. And so I wanted to alleviate that and really just restore his confidence in what we were doing with the land. I was informed that neighboring property owners on Durham Road also experienced similar patterns and asked to sell their property. I can't verify every account, but I have heard that repeatedly. Additionally, information was brought to my attention alleging that a county official may have participated or assisted with certain actions that were perceived as intimidating or coercive. I know for a fact that I was contacted by a city official or a county official to come and inspect and take pictures on my property, which I did not authorize that to happen. I can't prove any of that happened, but I believe that there is a reason for an impartial review so the public can have confidence in our county officials and that they can know that individuals that may have self-interests cannot coerce or intimidate individuals to sell their property. There were separate concerns over this conservancy obtaining heavy equipment for farm use for local citizens, and that equipment has not been allowed to be used, but actually is being used for private self-improvement for that conservancy. Again, I don't have clear evidence of that, but because of the concerns, I intend to retain independent legal counsel and investigative professionals to determine whether any violations of law, county ethics policies, abuse of public office, or other misconduct may have occurred. Should the evidence support such claims, we will pursue all remedies under the law. I'm not here to ask the commission to do anything. I am asking for transparency, fairness, and accountability, and every citizen should be able to own and enjoy their property without fear of intimidation, retaliation, or unequal treatment. I appreciate your time tonight and ask that this be entered into public record.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
have a question. So you're saying a public official? I just want to clear that up, like, because
A county
employee or a county?
a county employee contacted me.
Okay, well, there's a difference in a county employee and a
An
county
inspector.
official. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I want to thank everyone from the public. We had plenty of public participation tonight, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. This time, we'll call upon each commissioner to make a point of personal privilege. Commissioner Bill Pullen.
Thank you. Could I have my slides, please? I attended a 2-day course down at Callaway Gardens, and this is what I came home with. It was pretty intense, but air, land, water, and data centers. And I had folks from all over, and I'd say there was, I didn't count them, but it's 35, 40 people in this group, and the folks that spoke about different topics came in at different times, and it didn't all follow an agenda. I mean, there was a thing in there. I mean, they had materials, but they came when they could. And so this thing may bounce around a little bit, but just bear with me, and it probably all, in my mind, since I sat through it for 2 days, it all actually intermingles. So this is not part of the course, but it's an update on Sligo Road and the bridge over I-24. And construction continues. The middle part, they're filling that in. I don't think we're having as many delays because the main beams have been set and they don't have to stop traffic. So it's progressing, but it's not done. But maybe it'll be done by Thanksgiving. Next. GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, has sent us, they're proposing a roundabout where Highway 299 or 58, that's another number, comes into Highway 11. This is down next to the Wildwood Sanitarium. And GDOT apparently doesn't like to put in red lights again, but as traffic gets up in Chattanooga and people are getting off at 299, it can back up to the service stations. But they're proposing a single lane roundabout. And if you're familiar with that geography down there, on the north corner, there is a steep hill, limestone, and a graveyard up there. And on the south corner, I don't know how they're going to fit it in. That's just a proposal thing. The actual drawing is not out that I know of, but right now they're into seeing about buried artifacts and graveyards and different things. And I think that has to be watched closely. I personally don't care a lot for a roundabout, but I don't know whether one lane will carry it all in there. So it's out there. Next. Yeah, okay, air, land, and water resources. So, talk about, I got the glare on that thing. Water quality. There is a thing there about waterrates.com, Georgia water rates, down in the lower right-hand corner. And for those that want to, you can go on this website and you can pull up Dade County water and sewer. And if you want to compare it to Walker County or to DeKalb County, Georgia, or wherever you want to compare it, you can look it up, compare it, and one thing about it, GEFA, Georgia Emergency Fund Agency, the Water Authority has to keep a ratio of profit and reserves, and it's looked at for the county also. You'll hear Jifa's name mentioned a lot about getting grants or borrowing money and the paybacks. And it's kind of like, what have you got for collateral and how you going to pay it back? But I've been on the website, but I can't say that I have thoroughly exhausted it. I don't know all the things to do, but if you want to do it, look it up. Things about water in there, there are a lot of different ways Georgia is trying to, we have a lot of water that runs off. You know, y'all read about the flooding and that type thing. And it runs off, and there are different methods of trying to get it into the groundwater. Our aquifers are sinking. And so there's some pictures in there of how they're doing water runoff. And then the other thing in there is septic tanks. And the breakover here is 10,000 gallons a day, whether you're on a septic system, private house, or if you've got over 10,000 gallons a day, whether you're going to be at another rate. And the Department of Health here has an inspector, and you just go downstairs and make arrangements down there. And but if you don't, you get with if you're over 10,000, you get the Department of Natural Resources or Army Corps of Engineers. It's a total different thing to get a permit. And that's where it goes into the ground. The water goes into the ground, goes back into the aquifer. And there's some things called federalism in action. It's they have, give me another slide, I may have that on there. Nope.
Go to the next one, Alex.
What?
This is it, I think. Is that the right one?
No, but I can tell you about it. All the orders for air, water, and land start with the federal government. And they pass it down. The feds set the standards. The states are authorized to implement and enforce these standards. The states can't set anything less restrictive, but they can set higher standards. And then the local governments have to come up with their own standards. But it has to be no less stringent than the standards set up by the feds. Let's see what's else left on that slide. Data centers. The data centers are a whole shot different. And the data centers are around Atlanta. Jackson County is the Georgia center for all the data centers. And there's a whole host of counties around Atlanta that have data centers. And somewhere or another and all this stuff. Oh, yes. As of March 6th, 2026, there's an estimated 165 data centers operating in Georgia. The Data Center Tracker website shows a total of 208 data centers in the states. But the reason the number they're different is because what's called a data center and what's called a data building. And you can have multiple buildings for one center. And so EPD says that says there are 16 permitted data centers that are operating in Georgia, and there are currently an estimated 449 permit exempt data centers, and there's 13 permitted data centers that are under construction. Whether you've got a permit or not has to do with how much pollution you're putting off, and that's the hooker. If you're not putting off as a certain amount, then you don't have to have a permit. It's actually kind of backwards from what I would think. And there's about 4 chemicals. Well, there's a whole list, but there's 4 chemicals, and that are mainly the noxious things put off by data centers. One county had started out, and this has to do with economic stuff. One county started out and got like 1,300 acres, and they sat there for years, and it was actually 4 counties went together, and they got 1,300 acres, and they couldn't do anything with it, and the taxpayers were getting upset because they had these bonds out there. And so they went in, they cleared the land, they got some utilities into it, they went to Atlanta and got a manager, and they started selling, and they got these data centers, and they got 500,000 square foot buildings for data centers. And let's see, Carrie, did I have a thing in there on that picture? Anything
On which picture?
about those data centers?
Just this one, just the one that you're on.
This is the computers in the data center. And they're all stacked up in there, and they're processing billions of decisions every minute. And somebody made a statement that each of these things are turning about $500,000 an hour in revenue. So these things are big time money. And start back here. Georgia Power projects adding 9,900 megawatts of generating power by 2031, with data centers expecting to consume 80% of that new. Well, for information purposes, 1,000 megawatts is power enough to power 1 million homes. That's how big these things are. And some of them eat up 20 or 30 megawatts. But there's a lot of them that aren't that big. And according to the American Farm Bureau, it's estimated there are 4,925 data centers currently operating or under construction in the United States. In 2024, data centers accounted for 4.4% of U.S. electricity consumption. By 2028, which is around the corner, electricity demand from data centers is projected to double or triple, reaching as much as 12%. One data center has the potential to generate more tax revenue than any other tax sources combined. That's property taxes, sales tax, anything. So the discussion came around, data centers are here. They're not coming, they're here. They're just going to get more and more. So what do you need to look at? Well, you need to look at electricity generation. They're doing things to reduce the amount of electricity. hopefully that'll get less and less. The other thing is they're notorious for water consumption. Some of these things will use 1 million gallons a day. The city of Atlanta uses 600 million gallons a day in water. So you've got all these data centers out there that are eating up electricity and they're eating up water. They don't employ that many people. Once the construction's over with, let's say it's 300 people, but they might have had, 1,000 in there working on these buildings. The life of the building's about 30 years. The life of the computers in there, I've heard different figures, but just last week, I had the privilege to go down through the lineman college here, and I was told there that the life of the computers is around 6 to 18 months, and they replace them with more efficient things. Down at the course, they was more like 2 years. The money for the county is not just in the building, it's more in the computers inside. That's what you're taxing them on. And I'm not proing, I'm not conning. I'm just telling you they're out there. I don't know anybody's coming. I don't know anything about that we're going to be getting something. But they're out there. And they are the things that they attract more businesses into this industrial area. Evan, if you've got anything to add, but this one thing that they had the 500,000 square feet, they built 5 more. But they attracted other things into this park, and they brought in Baxter Pharmaceutical, which is an old-time, long, big pharmaceutical thing. And they got bought out 2 or 3 times, and they're Taked, Takeda. It's a large Japanese pharmaceutical company. And they're big time money. I mean, like the state built a $14 million training center for them and different things. But data centers are, when I say here, they're not in Dade County. I think Hamilton County put a moratorium on them. And, but they may generate a lot of money, but they can bring headaches too. So you got to get it up. You got to get what you want. You got to get paving, the roads to the place. You got to get water. You got to get electricity. And some of the air pollution early on was through the diesel generators, which are like what they have in locomotives or ships and stuff. So, but that's decreasing. They're getting more where the generators are turned on twice a year for 60 seconds to make sure they crank. Let's go to another slide. Let me see what else I've got here. Economic development. What are investors looking for? They're looking for a skilled workforce. They want people to work, access to technology, physical infrastructure, water, electricity, quality of life, protection of their investments, and abatements and concessions. All the big companies are asking for property taxes to be decreased or obliterated for 10 years, 20 years up. And certain concessions, like not having to have a permit, to building permits. Economic development makes a big difference in the community. You have the employer and the payroll. The company's got to make money. It flows down to the workforce. it goes to the retailers, the restaurants, and it's an expanded tax base. It's to lower tax rates for the residents. The tax base is there. And you grow better jobs, give people dignity, the choice, and the means to support themselves and their families. These data centers down in Social Circle, Georgia, they did studies about the quality of life, and the workers preferred living in the areas where the data center are because of the amenities. They had restaurants, they had improved shops, different things there. But they liked, instead of going away from the data centers, they liked it. And the newer ones, several people got up and said that they put their hands on the wall. You couldn't feel any heat, you couldn't feel any vibrations, you couldn't smell anything, are not like the old ones. I've never been in one, I've never put my hand on one, but that's what they all say. And several of them got up and said, if y'all have a data center and don't want it, send them to us. We'll take all you can give us. So this is kind of what it boils down to me, is what do we have to offer? County assets, workforce, infrastructure. What do they want? We talked about up there. What do we want? We want economic growth, tax revenue, community benefits. We don't want no electricity, no water. You've got to plan for these things in the beginning. But the bottom line, what makes us all happy? Is it mutually beneficial, sustainable investment? And it's got to be a win-win situation for everybody. I'm not pro it, I'm not conning. I'm just saying it's not something maybe we just need to absolutely say we don't want anything to do with it, because there are several industries and factories that use more water than a data center and make more pollution. The city of Atlanta has more pollution without the data centers. Let's try another one. I can see a whole lot better over here. This is my usual stuff, and I swear up and down that the numbers were the same as last month. We didn't fix anything. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Y'all, I see a lot of familiar faces. Y'all can look at that. These individual numbers may vary, but the bottom line is it's about the same. And I told y'all last month I think I was going to do a running average, but I haven't done it. Next. This was a drill put on by local folks here. It's mandated by the Georgia Emergency Management Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We have to do these every year. And it's used for testing, procedures, communications, equipment. You get new people that have never seen a mass casualty. And this was a partnership with the Dade County School System, the Dade County Emergency Services, Georgia State Patrol, City of Trenton, Dade County Sheriff's Office, local fire departments, and Erlanger Hospital. And next slide. I hope I hadn't bored y'all. Nobody I see fell out of their chair. But those things about what we're looking for, data centers, stuff, can be equally applied to other industries. It's not just data centers. Mm-hmm. Any questions? I rest my case.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an example of when Bob teaches him how to do these PowerPoints. That's what happens when Bob gives lessons, and so he has been building all this up for months, and so, hey, excellent job, I'm telling you, that's a lot of information to go over,
There's a
and
lot
he
of
barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
That's the
There-
scary thing, you were there for 2 days.
There's a lot of stuff in here that I could keep going with, but after I got to where I could see the thing, I tried to hit the high spots.
Yeah, we're just gonna call ChatGPT to see if we want one or not.
Yeah, we'll call ChatGPT and ask them questions.
If you use a cell phone, if you watch TV and click on movies, you are using a data center. If you don't like them, you need to throw your phone away, quit watching TV.
Yes.
Enough.
Yes, that's right. So if you watch Netflix, you're using a data center,
Yep.
Yep,
or Amazon Prime, or anything pretty much on the internet.
yep.
And every time you upload a video, data center. TikTok and the Reels and whatever they're all, Freels and Thrills and all those things, they get uploaded and they have to go somewhere. Everybody says the cloud, that is the cloud that he just talked about. So, anyway, all right. Philip, do you have a report?
Hi, Dave, can you hear me good?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna start with the electrical. We're staying about the same 25 to 30 inspections a month. We did have 3 failed in the month of July. I questioned why. It was because of 2 of them was ground rods, and I think one of them wanted a temporary inspection when it was really wanting a permanent inspection. So that was the 3 reasons for the failed inspections. New construction's about the same, 5 and 7 in the month, so we're still doing the same, 5 to 6, 7 houses a month. We'll go to the sports complex. We got fall soccer sign-ups going on now. They're going through the middle of August, then they'll start practicing. They will be able to use the concession stand and the storage facility when they start. Football practice has started, and they're also having a baseball practice start this month, and they'll be playing in the Jasper League. And I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartline. All right. that is-
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, we appreciate that. And just to reiterate, just to give you an update too, Philip, Roger got the garage door up, and so I believe the concession stand is right at 99%. I mean, I think there may be a little bit of trim to be painted, but we can almost say that's 100%, and we appreciate Philip for, and I will say Philip, Commissioner Hartline, for taking that task on. He saved the county quite a bit of money by he really overseeing that project, and we appreciate you for that. It did take a little bit, but hey, it's done. There's a fall soccer league that's about to kick off here in, I guess, less than a month, and so they will definitely put that to good use. All right. Commissioner Woods.
All right, there you go. Next chart, please. All right, let's talk about the animal center. First of all, the city's moving along with staffing it. And the latest development is, as the city has looked long and hard about paying for a director and that type of thing, and the amount of rescues that have gotten more involved with the animal center operations, there's a good chance that we're not gonna have to hire a director, that slowly but surely the rescues are gonna come in and work to facilitate the day-to-day operations, which I think is a very good thing. There's an advisory board for the animal center, and they meet the second Wednesday of the month, and the next one's gonna be on August 12th at 10 o'clock, and this happens down at City Hall. The regular Trenton Dade Animal Center meetings are quarterly, and the next one's scheduled for the 1st of September, also at 10 o'clock at City Hall. Next chart, please. We have stats every month, and we're sending out more than we're bringing in at the Animal Center, at Lux Rescue, and that type of thing. So it's great. We're in July, 85 came in, 102 went out, but we didn't get any spade and neuter numbers for this month. But it's all going in the right direction, so that's a good thing. Next chart. All right, got to clarify a couple of things here. There's some confusion sometimes, y'all, about what animal control means and who does it, and what rescue means and who does that and that type of thing, and where does our animal center fall into? Well, this is the way I see it. Animal control, that's done by city and county officials, right? We have police officers that do that. They have vehicles. They enforce local and state laws. They handle dangerous animal concerns that are out there that people call in. And when needed, they seize animals when that's a necessary situation. Let's go over to the rescues. They're nonprofits. They're all volunteers. They provide foster care for animals. That's the way I like to look at it. I think that's a good term for what they do. Okay, and they work with shelters and veterinarians. Now, the bridge between the two is going to be the animal center. That's the kind of way I see it. Between the people that go out and enforce laws and that kind of deal and deal with situations with animals, they need a place to put them sometimes, and the animal center could be a place for that. The rescues, they're going to be deeply engaged with the animal center, right? And so I think somewhere between, the next several months, and are there growing pains between all organizations? Of course, there are. And they're working through that now. They're addressing it, right? And I think it's going to work out well in the long term. Next chart, please. All right, the good old senior center. Well, here's the deal. We said this months ago that we needed some new doors down at the senior center. Well, the doors are in, and that's a great thing. So now folks that have concerns can just walk up and push, and they're going to open. And the electricity is going to be in next week. And so that's a high five moment for the senior center. And I appreciate everyone that's working on that. And of course, Kathy, who helped us get money for it and that type of thing. So that's a great thing. Next chart. Penny's in the back. She's here every single month. Trips to bring seniors there, 504. Dialysis. And I know people that have to do this, and God bless them, 78 of those trips. Other appointments, 381. So 963 trips, over 11,000 miles, and a bunch of time putting into it, 784. And you can see there, if you want to bring it up, but they've got Eddie Cantrell coming in, of course, twice a month. They've got bingo going on. They got all sorts of singing, so come down to the senior center and spend some time. It'll be worth it. Next chart. I say it every month. Go down there and eat. They got breakfast, they got lunch, and they give out a whole lot of meals every month. They have the ones that they deliver Meals on Wheels, right? And of course, they give meals out at the senior center as well. And that's over 1,200 every time. Next chart, please. All right. I said last month that as we're getting ready for the November 3rd voting, that it was our responsibility to tell people what's going to be on the ballot so they can start thinking about it. There's going to be two things on there, and I'm going to talk you through them. First, a floating local option sales tax, and that is for property tax relief, okay? And it's going to be split between the city and the county, and that's going to be for 5 years if it gets voted in. There's a transportation special purpose local option sales tax, okay? And that's for transportation concerns, roads, bridges, transit, and that's also going to be between the city and the county for 6 years. Next chart. I wanted to show it to you so you're not seeing it for the first time. I think the way that we've got these worded, they're very short, sweet, and they're easy to understand. So here it goes. Shall 1% sales and use tax be imposed for 5 years with the special taxing district of Dade County with the proceeds expressly used to reduce property taxes? So there you have it. Short and sweet, easy to understand. You just got to say yes or no if you agree. Next chart. If you get that passed, predictions say it's going to be a 66% reduction in property tax across the county. Next chart. Let's talk about the transportation special purpose local option sales tax. Same thing, a little bit longer, but it's the same things. Shall a special 1% sales and use tax be imposed in Dade County for 6 years, raising an estimated $23,500,000 in revenue for the county and the city, to patch, resurface, widen, and handle intersections, crosswalk, and roads. Just short and sweet. Next. Now, the road share, Dade County is gonna keep 92% of it. Trenton is gonna get, I'll say 8% of it, and that type of thing. But the great thing about it is, right, we're gonna be able to take care of many roads, right, and take care of things if this gets passed. Now, I went around with Billy Massingill the other day and I looked at all the roads in South Dade. So when the time comes around and we have a meeting, he says, which roads do you want to be improved and why? I'll be able to talk about it for South Dade. But the thing about it is, y'all, I just wanted to share that with you, okay? And next month I'll have some more data just to throw out. So you know when November 3rd comes, please come and vote, right? And know if you're gonna say yes or no. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Bradford.
All right, mine's pretty short also. So with the glass, like I said, just gonna repeat that. We've discussed next week of some type of a meeting, either online or in office, to come up with an agreement of some sorts. Hopefully we'll have them in overlooked materials in next month to do a demonstration and explain exactly how it's going to work. Then my second point is the transfer station. You've probably seen some activity over there. There was a drain that was blocked, so that was causing lots of problems. The reason was going in to kind of look at maybe some changes in the way the traffic flows there for the future, but we had to fix this drain issue first. So there might be some more changes coming up, but we will definitely keep everybody posted. The last is the newspaper recycling. We are over full. When the container is full, do not leave newspaper. We cannot have newspaper flying all over the place. Please do not leave newspaper if the yellow container or the bin is full. I think that's still out there if I'm not mistaken. It will the access will get thrown in the trash. So please, if you show up and it's full, just try to save it till next time. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. All right, pull up mine. The report this month, as Commissioner Bill said a minute ago, we visited Southeast Lineman Training Center. We had, as you see the picture in the middle, Congressman Clay Fuller was in attendance that day, and it was last Thursday. We went around certain businesses in Dade County, including the Lineman School. I've been through different parts of it at different times, but never continuously, and so it's very impressive. We have, they have many students coming through here, I think 4 times a year, I believe, and there are over 80 classes now. That's a lot of students over the years to have come through their program. And it's getting even better. They offer CDL license if you're interested in CDL license and or knowing more about how to thread fiber. They have a whole class on that. It's very impressive. Mr. McBriar's brother, I believe, is over that program, and I got to talk to him. It's something that even if you think you're going to get in that world, if you take that class, you're already a mile ahead. Other people trying to apply for certain positions out there. So anyway, we had a great day. They put Clay, we should do all congressmen, way up in the air. We did not leave him in the air that day, but he was way high, and he had his helmet on and all the safety gear on that is required, but it was a great day there. We also visited Bull Moose with Congressman Fuller and others, and that was an interesting trip. All the years I've been in Dade County, I have never seen the inside of Bull Moose, and Bull Moose is a plant that's been around now over 40 years. If you recall, or if you ever knew Mrs. Ruth Moore, she worked for Larry Moore many years ago. I don't believe there's any relation there, but she was the the first economic development director. And so they made many trips to Illinois, and they put this in, I believe, like I said, it's going on almost 50 years ago. So lots of product have gone through that. Steel comes in and tubes come out. And I mean, I'm talking about many over the years. And so very impressive program there. The congressman and his staff are very impressed. And we're very fortunate to have a sitting U.S. congressman who lives in Dade County, right up next to Covenant College. So I'm very thankful for that. We've been working with his staff already on some congressional spending, and hopefully we'll hear more about that in the future. Met our follow-up with our comprehensive plan, 2026 comprehensive plan update. This is our 10-year plan update. So we call it the big plan update. There is a smaller 5-year plan update. The mayor and I were both on hand, along with several others. Julianne Meadows is over Northwest Georgia Regional Commission over that division, and she came up and presented that day, following up on all the different visioning session ideas that were proposed. And so we will have, it's basically like a filtration process. We went through those results, and we'll have more of those meetings coming up. Have not set the next date, I don't think yet, but it's probably going to be in the fall, probably October. But we are doing well. We are ahead of schedule on that, and probably will be the last meeting. It will be the fall, October, and then we'll have one in the spring or early, well, I say late winter or so, January, February timeframe, and then be on task to produce our work program for the next 10 years. The comprehensive plan is the most important plan a county can have, because you have to legally have a comprehensive plan. But all grants are reviewed to see if those ideas are listed in your comprehensive plan. So it's hard to get grant funding on certain things without it being listed. It is possible, but it makes it a little more difficult. Dade Elementary Kids Day, Dade Elementary School Kids Day. Had Carrie Anderson, Gidget Knight, and myself there, along with many other groups in town. Thankful for all the different folks and vendors that were on site that day. Gave out hundreds of different items to local children and their parents for the first day of school, which is, by the way, if you don't know, tomorrow. So, as my mother would say, Big Yellow will be running in the morning. So watch out for school buses. Have a little more patience. If you don't have a lot of patience, I would not recommend coming to Trenton until about 9 o'clock in the morning, because the first day of school can be challenging. Traffic backing up down Highway 11 towards Rising Fawn, and up 136 towards Sand Mountain. So until they get the lots fixed, and that they always go through this every year, just be patient and watch out for the school children, and be in prayer for the teachers. Parents will be celebrating in the morning, I'm sure. So anyway, ribbon cutting held at Steel Pioneer Fire Cooking. Glad to be there, and so if you get a chance, check out the Steel Pioneer Fire Cooking folks. And then the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing, we had another meeting. We call it GIC, and GICH. That is for affordable housing that we're working towards in Dade County. We will be continuing those meetings and be making an early report here in, I believe, October. Millage rate, there was something, that's fine, don't worry about it, I don't need it. Millage rate schedule, we've already talked about at the regular meeting, but again, the meetings are Thursday, August 13th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. in this room, and then Thursday, August 20th at 4 p.m., the third and final public hearing, and then following that, another meeting, a special call meeting to consider adoption of the final millage rate, which again, we are leaving at 7.5 mills in the unincorporated area. So 7.5 mills is the millage rate that we would have chosen to advertise and go with. to stay the same as it was last year. Went to Friends of Cloudland Canyon annual Ranger Day, and they had a house full of rangers. That was quite impressive. Rangers from all over Georgia, I think, were there, especially North Georgia specifically. And so they had a great time there. In part of the Friends of Cloudland Canyon State Park, they're having a cornhole tournament August 29th, 2 to 5. It's the first time. It's a fundraiser to help them with maintaining all of those trails and systems. So if you get a chance and want to, you're a cornhole expert, August 29th, 2 to 5 at the Cloudland Canyon State Park, they would be more than happy to have you there. Next slide there is T-Splosh and Floss. Commissioner from the South District has just covered that very well, so we'll just move forward on that. And again, I just want to say very happy again about reporting the Park Ridge Dade coming to Dade County. Y'all, that's a huge win for the people of Dade County, and it is going to be life-saving, life care, life-changing services. Literally, people will be alive as a result of going to this thing. If you're having a stroke or whatever, and they can get certain medicines in you early, or whatever the situation, not every ambulance we make it clear that not every ambulance that picks someone up is going to go to this ER. If someone's in cardiac arrest, they're taking them, of course, downtown to a major hospital, or if there's a major trauma situation, they're taking them downtown. But for many other reasons, we have an ER physician sitting on the board with us tonight who could tell you a lot about that. It's going to be life-changing for people locally to be able to sit in this waiting room, and I'll tell you what, it'd probably be 30 seconds, if that, to get back in the back and get to a room versus going downtown. And I've heard of horror stories, people sitting 30 hours waiting to get back and staying at the ER all weekend at times. We're thankful to be in close proximity to Chattanooga, to have that service of 3 major hospitals, but this is a real blessing for them. And this, again, they are paying for this $19 million asset, and they are taxable. They will pay property taxes. There have been no incentives given to them to come to Dade County, and they made their own purchase of the land. So again, very excited. It's going to be right back here behind us, behind Citizens Bank, between Citizens and CVS Pharmacy, the land that's been used many years for the flea market and produce and stuff. So where are they going to go? I know some people are already questioning that, and I understand that. We're working towards a solution for that. We don't have to, but we're going to, and I've already mentioned trying to come up with some possible solutions. One is down next door to the elections building. There is a spot that we had talked about putting a farmer's market. So right now it's kind of a staging area for the elections building construction going on. But hopefully as that wraps up, maybe we can work out something there. Mayor Case has offered even some property over behind the pool, to the left or south side of the public defender's office, the old depot, and there may be other places. Maybe we're open to ideas because we know that many people have utilized this facility for many years, and we're not trying to boot them out. But again, we didn't buy the land, they bought the land, and we're excited for them because it is going to be wonderful. And we appreciate everybody that's said such kind things online about it. So there will be an opportunity for letters of support. They do need letters of support. Mr. Chris Cosby was here earlier and briefly mentioned that, but there is a certificate of need that's required by the state of Georgia, and so they're calling a landing page or something. It's like a website where will be able to go to and provide a letter of support if you'd like to do that. Even the citizens, when they did the one in Cleveland, he mentioned they had, what was it, 10,000?
What?
I don't have any of that. They had thousands.
2,500.
2,500 letters of
Citizen
support.
letters of
So,
support.
if you would like to do that, be aware, we will, the second we know about it, we will put that site up or QR code up or whatever they produce and let you know about it. And we would appreciate you, giving us that feedback. All right, that will conclude our personal privilege. That was the longest personal privilege we've ever had, I think, so, anyway.
While you're regrouping,
Okay.
my first time through the Lyman's College, and I was impressed with everybody down there. But in the fiber optics, if you know somebody that's wanting to get something to make a good living and carry with them and not be all in debt, they said by the year 2030, there would be a need for 200,000 fiber optic technicians or however you want to describe it. But that's a pretty good chunk, 200,000, and that's, fiber optics is like data centers. It's here and it's not going away.
All right, let's see. Under appearances, let's see who we've got first. We have Laura Beth Cunningham.
She's here.
4H, come on up, Laura Beth, with the Extension Agency.
Well, as usual, we did our monthly Ag Ventures at the library. What did we read? Oh, we read the book that Joanna Gaines and her children wrote together. It was called We Are the Gardeners. And it's, if you haven't read it, it's actually funny for adults too. And they wrote it for their dad because he made the garden for them, and there was a lot of comical things about it. And then we did a little craft afterwards. And this is our schedule through December, that the books that we're going to read at the library till the end of the year. And then since school's starting back, we will be continuing the Ag Ventures program in the school system for K through second grade. So we'll get a whole new group of kindergartners this year, so I'm excited to meet all of them. Our homeschoolers meeting for the month of August is going to be a really special homeschool meeting. It is going to take place at Rising Pond Gardens. They have offered up their facility down there by the old mill, Curitan Mill. They have a really interesting, or a good way to get down into a creek. So we're going to do a creek study and look at all the microorganisms and the plants that grow in the creek. So all the homeschool kids are going to be able to get in the creek, and we're going to have a really good lesson. So you really should bring Caden out to that lesson, because it'll be a lot of fun. That is going to be on August 19th at Rising Pond Gardens.
What time?
1 o'clock. So we wrapped up all of our summer programs just this last week. We did try to do a different program every week, so there would be something available for all the kids to do. This was some pictures from our chicken camp. All the kids love chicken camp. I'm really not sure why. It's really hard to find something new to teach about chickens every year when you've done it for 5 continuous years. But our big craft project was we made button chickens, and those turned out to be really cute, actually. And then we do little games with chickens, and this was where they used the spoon and did little relays with eggs to try not to break them, but we did break about 3 dozen eggs just with these small amount of kids. And we did some other crafts and learned a lot about backyard clocks. We did go to Red Clay Resort, that is over in Cohutta. And if you've never taken your family there, you really should. It is really cool. It is a spring-fed, it used to be a pond, but they've concreted it in. It is super clean. It is really cold, so do be prepared for that. But it's really clean, and the bathrooms are nice, and it's a really nice facility. So I recommend it. It's a drive, but it's nice. Another thing we did is we went to Nuga Splash. This is over in Hickson. It's an obstacle course. that's out on the water, and those kids did that for 4 hours. I don't know how they did it. I could not do it for an hour probably, but they did it for 4 hours straight, so kudos to them. I mean, it's pretty tough. We went to the Chattanooga Zoo, and they've done a lot of really nice improvements to the Chattanooga Zoo. I remember going when I was little and thinking how awful it was, but it's really, really nice now, and they have really nice environments for the animals. And then the Warner Park pool is right next door, and they have a nice little splash pad, so they had a lot of fun that day too. And then we went to Pirates Bay. That's kind of, gosh, where is that at? I mean, it's an hour away. I know it's an hour away, but they like to go there too. The cattlemen's meeting is in Walker County this month. Michael Lowridge is going to come and talk. He is from the Chatsworth Farm and Garden Facility. If you would like to RSVP and get the meal, please do that by Friday, August 14th. For the September meeting, that is going to be our pinned heifer show. That also takes place in the Walker County. They have some pretty specific rules this year, so I wanted to go ahead and get them up there. They would love for more people to participate in that. Usually just John Green from our county who participates in it, and he usually wins it, but it would be nice if other Dade County farmers would participate in that. So if you have any questions, please call the Ag Center, and I can get everybody a hard copy of the rules for that. The Tri-State Beekeepers Associating meeting will be on Monday, August 17th at 7 p.m. at our Ag Center. That's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And then we have other online presentations available. We're going to get Paul up here just next, but it is made by Lydia Sosi, manager of the Dade County Public Library, and Sandy White, president CEO of the Alliance for Dade, representing the Chamber of Commerce, is also available online. At this time, we do have Paula Duvall, who is patiently and sacrificiously waited to make this report.
Okay.
You probably would have said, hey, I'll come back in September, but anyway, Paula Duvall, Chief Appraiser.
That's okay. My presentation is going to be threefold tonight. First of all, I was asked for this meeting to kind of introduce our office, what we do, so I'll do some basic overview of that. I will give some updates of what our office is currently doing in this season of the year, and then we will go over the 2025 state audit report that we received a couple of weeks ago. First of all, as far as our office, a little history lesson. Of course, property taxes, since Georgia was established, has been accruing. Everybody, when the state of Georgia was founded, property taxes were part of it. There were big changes in 1852. Basically, it became a general ad valorem tax. And basically, ad valorem means according to value. So based on the Georgia statute, what does that value mean? What is the definition of that value? Well, it's a fair market value. That's what the current standard state definition is of the value. It's a fair market value. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, what they would do was a self-assessment. There were not assessor's offices. There were not tax commissioners. You basically came in to the state and reported what you owned, and you gave a value of what you owned at that time. Because at that time, property taxes also funded the state of Georgia because there was no income tax. So the income tax finally came into play in 1929. So at that time, property tax process kind of became a little differently. It wasn't totally funded for the state. Now it became more towards your counties. The tax commissioner was established in 1913, as was your tax assessors. As far as the Georgia tax is at 40%. That was not always the case. That did not come into play until 1968, where the state legislature changed that assessment ratio to 40%. That's how we're taxed. In 1972, there were also some more major changes as far as what our office does, how properties are valued. We had the appraiser procedure manual at that time. There was a lot of changes in 1972. In 1991, the definition of fair market value at its current state was established, which is the amount a knowledgeable buyer would pay and a willing seller would accept for the property and a bona fide arm's length transaction. Well, what is a bona fide arm's length transaction? That is basically an honest, genuine business deal between unrelated parties who act independently. Both sides are looking out for their own interests. So that's what a bona fide arm's length transaction is. If you're related, that's not a bona fide arm's length. If you don't put it out on the open market, that's not a bona fide sale. So that definition was established in 1991, which is what we currently use. Another thing I wanted to discuss was we are what is called mass appraisers, meaning we value classes of property using the same methodology. You have your mass appraiser, you have your fee appraiser. Fee appraisers are what, like you're getting your house refinanced or you're buying a house. The bank requires an appraisal. That is a fee appraisal. They're only looking at your individual house. We're looking at all 6,000 houses in the county. We're required to value all those using the same method. So that's the little bit of the difference in what we do and what you would get from a bank or from a fee appraiser. So that's what we are. And everything that we do, the way we do it, the process we do it, is state law. I know nobody likes property taxes. I know that's a big hot topic right now. But the property tax system is a legislative system, meaning it is the law. It was established by the Georgia legislature. So to change that, the law would have to be changed. So until that time, we do have to follow the code. We have to follow the appraiser procedure manual. And we value properties according to their value, their fair market value, which is where the next thing I'll talk about is the sales ratio study. That came into play in 1965. So they've been doing sales ratio studies since 1965. Now that process has also changed throughout those years to where it currently is now. So we'll talk about the sales ratio study here in just a few minutes. As far as what our office does specifically, we're step one in the property tax system. We don't set the property taxes, we set the value. We're only responsible for setting that fair market value. And there are statistical numbers that we have to maintain to tell us whether we are at a market value with the values we have in the system. So that's the main thing that we do, is we set the property value. That's step one in your property tax process. We also accept what's called a return. I talked about self-assessments back in the 1800s. This is kind of the same thing, and it is required by law for property owners to file what's called a taxpayer's return of value. Those are accepted between January the 1st and April the 1st. That's basically where you come in. There's a form. You say, I have a house, I think it's worth this. I have a utility building, I think it's worth this. That gives you your opportunity to come in and say, okay, this is what's on my property. This is what I think it's worth. And then we, review that and go through that. And the law also states if you do not file a return, if you do not file an appeal, and you pay taxes that year, then you've agreed with the value that's been set on your property. That's how the law reads. We also accept exemptions for your homestead exemptions, agricultural exemptions, exempt properties such as your churches and nonprofit organizations. We accept all of those, and the Board of Assessors does review those and either accept or deny those. We have a mapping department. We are responsible per law to keep up-to-date maps with property lines. So we do have a GIS office in our office, so we're able to do that locally within our office. We are responsible for keeping up-to-date property records as far as ownership. So we get deeds from the Superior Court Clerk's office. We go through those deeds and we do your property transfers, your split, your combination, anything like that. Our office is also responsible for doing that. So that is just a general overview of what our office does as far as within the tax process. I did want to read one thing that I think is important. I do have a history that I've been reading about property tax. It's very interesting. But it says local governments have no say regarding the definition of the tax base, meaning they don't get to say what gets taxed and what doesn't get taxed. That is established in law. The only thing that, although the state has approved jurisdiction-specific deviations, currently local governments can choose only the tax rates they impose. So I just wanted to put that out there. The county doesn't decide what gets taxed and what doesn't get taxed. They're only responsible for setting the tax rate, the tax. That's it. The state law has established what gets taxed for property taxes. And another confusing thing, the state calls anything on the property an improvement. Basically, what they're trying to say is, you start off with just a vacant piece of property. It's just vacant, there's nothing on it. So anything you put on that property is an improvement. That's where that term came from. You put a driveway in there, that's an improvement to that property. You put a power pole on there, that's an improvement to that property. You put any structures on there, that's an improvement to the property. That's why that term is used. It doesn't necessarily mean you changed something or you updated something. I just kind of wanted to put that out there too. Lastly, we'll talk about the sales ratio study. What the sales ratio study is, we are audited every year by the Department of Audits, which is part of the Department of Revenue. And what they do, they come in and they kind of do the same thing we do. They pull our market, they pull our sales, they pull their own pool of sales, which would be the same sales that we use. And then they do their own appraisals. So based on that, they come up with the same statistical numbers that we're required to do per Department of Revenue and the state standard. And that tells us and them and Department of Revenue whether we're doing our jobs correctly and following the law and how we're supposed to do that. So this is always a year behind. So this is the 2025 sales ratio study, which is against our 2025 digest. So it would be last year's digest. And I'll kind of just briefly tell you the three numbers that we're required to maintain. The first one is the median. We talked about property taxes at 40%. So to maintain a statistical, to tell you whether your property values are in line with the actual market, that number needs to be between 0.36 and 0.42. That's the range we're allowed to have. So that tells us at that point whether our values are in line with what is actually selling. That's your market value. Then there's the COD, which is your coefficient of dispersion that measures uniformity. Are we valuing the residential properties the same methodology? Are we using the same methodology with commercial properties, so on and so forth? That's your uniformity. So that is, for residential properties, it can't be above a 0.15. Any other classes, your commercial, agricultural, and industrial cannot be above a 0.20. The last number is the PRD, that's the price-related differential. That measures bias. Are we only looking at one type of property, such as your Lookout Mountain properties, but we're not looking at any other properties? That just measures any type of bias we may have. That is between a 0.95 and a 1.10 to be a passing ratio per the state. So I'll go through residential for 2025. They used 110 sales. Our median was at a 39.24. Our COD was at a 5.31, and our PRD was at a 1. Our agricultural, they used 15 sales. Our median was at a 39.77. COD was 16.56. PRD was a 1.4. Commercial, this is commercial and industrial, they kind of put that together. There was 131 samples that they used. And another thing to throw out there, they might not be sales. Sometimes they just appraise, they just pick properties and they put an appraised value on it, and they come up with a ratio for that. The median on the commercial and industrial was 39.26, COD was 6.9, and your PRD was 1.01. Great report. I mean, this is about as great a report as you can get. So we're very proud of this. This tells us we're doing our jobs, we're doing them correctly, we're doing them per the law, we're following everything that we're supposed to be following. I know it's hard to believe, but the market in Dade County is great. And it just continues to be that way. Properties are selling for higher prices, even the ones we've seen this year. We're a year behind on sales, so we're looking at 2026 sales currently to establish our 2027 values. So we're still seeing things sell for more than what we've got on. So it just continues to amaze us, how the market is healthy in this county, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So right now, we're currently doing our property transfers. We have switched over to the 2027 digest year, so we're working on the property transfers, getting the ownerships changed. We did have our appeal time. That ended July 20th. Out of a little over 9,000 parcels, we had 127 appeals. So that's not bad at all. That's about average, about what we've had before. So that's what we're doing right now. Board of Assessors does have 180 days to review those. We definitely try not to take that long. We try to work through them as we get them so that we can get that process done. So that's what we're currently doing in the office, and that's our audit report. And please stop by and see us if you have any questions. We're more than happy to talk to you.
Thank you, Paul.
Any
Thank
questions?
you.
So, question, 39.33? And you have to, the perfect score is a 40,
Correct.
40.00.
That's correct.
Yeah, but it has to be between, what, 38 and 42?
36 and 42.
36 and 42.
Correct.
But 40 is, and you're at 39.33.
Yeah. If you
Very
get to right at 40, it's kind of suspicious.
And what happens if you were consistently below 36?
Then public utilities cannot be taxed at 40%. You can only tax at whatever that ratio was. So
And
we
those
have to lose
public
money.
utilities are TVA,
Railroads.
Georgia Power,
Power.
Southern Power, all the, yes, which is equal to a lot of money.
That's correct.
I mean, because some counties fund most of their budget
That is
with
correct.
utilities. We have a lot because of TVA lines that come through, but anyway.
And if we're consistently below the state standards, the county can be penalized eventually. If
And
we
they
do
pay
not
at 40.
correct those issues.
When
within
you're
3
in that
years.
compliance zone, they pay you, what, at 40, right at 40, I believe?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Utilities,
Yes,
yeah.
if
as
we're
long as you're
in
in
between that
compliance.
range.
But if you're below that, you don't get to collect
Actually,
anything.
if we're below 38,
Yeah, I think
you
that's
can't
right.
tax it.
Well, good job keeping us where we need to be.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the history.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It is
I've
helpful.
got a great article down there you need to read. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
It was
right.
very interesting.
All right, thank you. Great reports. Took a little while, but hey, we appreciate it. All right, I'll now ask Mrs. Rebecca Jones, CFO, to provide the county financial report.
Okay, the first page you'll see there is the account balances as of July 31st, 2026. The next 4 pages there are your budget variance report as of June 30th, 2026. This is preliminary. We'll continue to post back revenue and expense of when they were received or earned for this month. So we'll have another final report for June coming next month, but this is just a preliminary. Your year-to-date actuals for revenues is $15,826,295. Year-to-date budget, $15,963,000, so we're short $136,705. Expenses, year-to-date actuals, $16,206,935. Year-to-date budget, $15,963,000. So we were over budget $243,935. The next 4 pages goes over the lost and splosh trends worksheet since 2011. So you'll see each month what was been collected. You'll see there for lost, in July we collected $303,389. And then it scrolls some more. I didn't put that on my paper, but I'll say it. Keep on going. Yep. And right there for SPLOS, we collected $379,236. That is one of the highest SPLOS collections that we've had, I think, in the last 3 years. It's a while before you see that high of a collection. And then your next several pages go over the 2015 and 2021 SPLOS detail. And your very last page is the final year-to-date tax collections from Angie's office, and the percentage collected as of June 30th, 2026 was 100.69%. And that concludes your report.
That is impressive with the SPOS, 379,000. I mean, you have to go back to August 23rd, August 23 to see 463, but there was, I grant you an anomaly in that number somewhere, but that is a good sign that people are buying things in Dade County. And remember, if you go to Catoosa County, Lowe's or somewhere and buy a refrigerator or whatever you may buy, and you deliver it here, we get the sales tax on that. Some people don't realize that, but when you do have it delivered, you may pay a fee to have it delivered, but you're saving some on sales tax. But anyway, the county does get that sales tax. And also on the last report that she mentioned was the property tax, and we talked a lot about property tax, but the current year is a little short, right almost 35,000 short. It's at 99.29%, $34,650.58 is still owed in property taxes that were assessed last year. And so we do the best we can to estimate what we're going to collect. 99.29% is a pretty good estimate for a 12-month period, 12 months in advance, that is. But we will ultimately get that. If you look down at property taxes prior year, those monies have come in we budgeted $85,000 and collected $75,000, but that's those kind of monies up there that's missing. But they also have interest and penalties on them at that time too. So it's just something to consider, but at the bottom line, the tax commissioner for overall funds were collected at 100.69%. And sometimes that's stuff like timber tax, things you just don't know who's going to cut and whatever. But it's a great report. We appreciate it. Are there any questions pertaining to the report? Hearing no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the financial report as presented by Mrs. Jones. I'll take that as a motion from Mr. Hartline.
I'll second it.
Was moved to approve the financial report as reported. I think he must have his.
Yeah, he just said something about the financial report, no, yeah.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Yeah, I second it.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yep.
I have a motion and a second. I will now poll each commissioner to have their vote recorded. Dr. Pullen?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yep.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The motion is passed by unanimous vote. Legal matters, Mr. Robin Rogers, our county attorney. Mr. Rogers, do we have any legal matters to discuss this evening?
We don't, Chair.
All right. Is there any unfinished business to discuss or vote upon? Hearing none, under new business, the reading of the minutes of the last month's regular meeting and any special call meetings will not be required since all commissioners have been furnished copies in advance. The minutes are public record and available for review in the county commission office. The minutes are included in the consent agenda and will be considered for approval under the new business. I will now ask the county clerk to read aloud the items for consideration on the consent agenda for tonight.
Okay, approval of the amended agenda, approval of the previous meeting minutes, review of the personnel status report, proclamation, the National Emergency Management Awareness Month for August, proclamation for Purple Heart Day, August 7th, 2026, proclamation National Senior Citizens Day, August 21st, 2026, the election building construction project monthly updates for July, resolution R-39-26, reappointment of Patty Murphy for the County Safety Coordinator, and the second reading of ordinance 08-06-26, amending the alcoholic beverage control ordinance. That concludes the consent agenda.
Is there any discussion regarding the items listed on the consent agenda as presented by the clerk? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by Mrs. Knight.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have.
Second.
Okay, we have moved to approve the agenda and seconded. I will now poll each commissioner to have their vote recorded. Dr. Pullen?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The motion is passed by unanimous vote. Executive session, there is none to report. And we need, let's see, adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.